I just took this other very common pattern of words, looking forward to. I mean, obviously it's going to occur largely in the context of writing letters, and that's something that occurs a lot in student writing in exam contexts. So what type of errors do you expect that I'm going to find with this form, looking forward to? Looking forward at, looking forward in, yeah, looking forward for, okay? And then at what level do you think learners will on the whole get it right? At what level, to use John Hawkins' term, do you think it becomes criterial to use this correctly? B1? B1, B2? Okay, let's have a look. Now here are the different types of errors. I'm looking forward for your reply. For is by far the most common error. That example, the first example is from Greece. They spread across all nationalities. Another example of an error is I'm looking forward from. I'm looking forward in, from Malaysia. I'm looking forward of, I think somebody said that as well. And I'm looking forward on. So it gives you the typical spread of error patterns. Now, I took the first pattern there, the first error, looking forward for. It's by far the majority error. And I looked at it and looked at at what levels these errors were being made. So I tracked the errors. So across 100, the crisis point, the errors peak. So learners begin to use it around, well, really B1. But that's exam-driven, isn't it? That's task-related. So the crisis point here, B2, again, that's FCE. But the error rate drops off significantly at C1. Is that far later than you thought? Yeah. No? Not for you, no?
It depends on what you call B1 and what you call B2. I mean, you could have a discussion about that.
Yeah, we will afterwards, yeah, no doubt. Yeah, exactly. These are based on the Cambridge exams. Okay, so that's just another exploratory one. How about this one? Will have plus participle. Again, at what level do you think learners begin to use it? I mean, first appear. Two, yeah. Okay. And at what level do you think it's most typically used correctly, or to use the term criterion? C2, C1, up in the C's. Okay. Well, this isn't the error. This isn't an error graph. Apologies, I don't have a title on this. This is the pattern of use. So just it doesn't come into. It first appears in B1. It's used a lot. It's used a lot in B2 and at C1, and less so in C2. Strangely, when we look at the errors, so the blue is the error, and the red is the correct. As you predicted, it levels out. It becomes criterial, if you like, at C1, whereas at B2 there's still a 50% error rate. So that you could say it's a fingerprint of a C1, C2 user that they can, in the majority of cases, use this pattern correctly rather than incorrectly. But then the question very much prevails for me. What do you say about B2 users? They have a 50% chance of getting it right or wrong. You know, what does that? That's not criterial, or they're trying. It's evidence of learning. So there are a lot of questions around this that I'd welcome your opinion on. Now, we also looked at the lexical side of this. Looked at will, have, plus what. Okay? So at B2, these are the items that come with will have. Students are saying will have been increasing, will have finished, will have increased, will have scored. Maybe relating to talking about amounts and, you know, numerical projections. C1, will have been, will have disappeared, will have determined, will have disappointed, will have improved, will have lived, will have made, will have taken, will have settled down, will have spent. That's a more general spread. That must be task related. You need to go back to the exam tasks. Because then at C2, it contracts again, and it seems to go back to talking about gains and increases, and will have been, will have delivered, will have increased, will have lived, will have succeeded. It narrows again. So you can't just take a one-dimensional look at the results. You need to go back and question, why is that? Is it because of the task? And that's influencing the language used. But overall, so far, in what we've looked at, we see this, I suppose it's comforting from a teaching perspective, students moving from, I can't use it, to, I try to use it, but mostly get it wrong, and ultimately, I use it and usually get it right stage. So I guess that's comforting. That's some comfort from the pedagogical perspective. I mean, it's not turning back and regressing. We haven't found that pattern. Now, just getting back to the general level of the study itself, I mean, it's taking on a lot to try and do a grammar profile at all the levels for all the different grammatical structures. So you mightn't see me for a while, be busy. Might have thick glasses next time you see me, from looking at computer screens all day. But I've just showed you examples from the written exam corpus. So the corpus is one piece of the puzzle, and I've just shown you, as I say, the written exam data. We need to look at spoken non-exam data, spoken exam data, native speaker data as a reference point. For example, those patterns will have plus question mark. Well, what's in the native speaker corpus? How different is the exam pattern to the real use pattern? All kinds of other corporate to refer to there. So I've just shown you one, the narrow exam-based one. Melissa's going to talk to you a little bit when I finished to explain how you might get involved and become part of a community of data donators. Also, there's a whole consensus out there in course books about when you should teach certain patterns. You know, when you teach the past simple, when do you teach the future perfect? There seems to be a tacit knowledge among course book writers as to when to do this. So we need to look at that. How far away are their expectations from what students seem to be able to do? And where do you place your profile in light of that discrepancy? We need to look at, in the same way, we need to look at the exam syllabi. You know, is there a discrepancy between when an exam tests something and when students seem to generally be able to master it?